Well, and then there's also the issue of privatization of the military. I mean, I think this has helped alleviate the need for a draft, is because this is the most privatized war in history. I mean, this is Milton Friedman's ideology to privatize everything, and Donald Rumsfeld tried to privatize the Department of Defense and allow many more of previously socialized military, responsibilities to be privatized. So private corporations that wanted to make profits, these contractors,
Halliburton, Blackwater,
and I think, guys, it's time to talk about Dwight D. Eisenhower's speech on the military-industrial complex
in 1961.
In '61, he saw this coming.
His final speech.
How can we not see it whenever it's currently going on? When a guy 59 years ago saw what happened.
The military-industrial complex is what Dwight Eisenhower spoke about in January of '61.
Yeah, he did.
And then there was about 3 months later, in April of '61, what was JFK saying?
JFK said that the very concept of secrecy is repugnant in a free and democratic society.
Well, he also threatened to abolish the CIA or something, didn't he? Right before he died.
And what's interesting to me, and I just put this together today as I was looking this over. The Eisenhower speech was in January 17, 1961. The JFK speech on secrecy is repugnant was given in April 27, 1961. They were just a few months apart. These big speeches, big ideas that people seem to separate. This is one time. With this one time frame, they knew something was going down.
I think a lot of people don't remember that we didn't have this permanent military before World War II, right? I mean, we would just raise militaries when there was a war. And now it seems that we've had this permanent military. We have permanent war going on all around the world. We have 700 to 1,000.
They got what they wanted.
700 more foreign military bases all over the world, and it's like a military empire.
And the idea of the citizen soldier. In Vietnam, we had very few reservists and National Guard over there. And the ones that were over there maybe were doing the mail, sorting the mail, or maybe doctors. Now we've got the National Guard and the Reserve, which are supposed to be over here helping for things like
the National Guard. How is the Guard?
Why are they over there being a policeman in Israel or in Iraq?
The Guard doesn't go to the Guard is in the back, and they watch the tents and things like that. And now they're going over. We've got them on offensive. It's ridiculous. When I left the Air Force, I could have certainly gotten a job probably making 70 or 80 grand a year without a degree. They didn't even care if I had a degree or not, just doing military intelligence stuff and using some of the technological devices that I had used while I was on the plane. And that just goes to show how big this is, because I have friends doing this. They're making close to 6 figures, some of them more over in the Middle East, certainly more. Whenever they don't even have a degree, because that's how easy it is that's how big this is.
Right. And it's something we talked about earlier, previous to the show, that so we have millions of people working for the Department of Defense, and plus in these private weapons corporations, private contractors. You have all these people working for these industries, and all these people from these districts, all these families from these different congressional districts that sort of rely on this massive defense spending in a way. So it seems like a lot of our representatives are concerned. They don't want to end the war or whatever, because that would hurt jobs or the economy or whatever. So it seems that when we need to end these wars, obviously, but we need to be doing that hand in hand with some kind of jobs program or something.
Yeah, there's got to be a transition.
And I think alternative energy would be a good program.
There's plenty of things to do in the United States.
We've got a lot of work to do here.
There's plenty to do here.
Well, we're running out of oil. I mean, we're reaching peak oil, and we have to.
Well, why don't we do like Boone Pickens said, and start with your solar and your wind and your other alternative sources?
I think agriculture is going to be the biggest one.
And why do we use so much foreign oil? Because General Motors is no longer what it used to be,
the thing, and here's something that me and Abel have recently kind of thought about, is that when we wean off of oil, they already kind of don't like us over there. When we stop kind of giving them the honey over there, and we stop purchasing their oil, it's gonna, it's almost like we're kind of
buying them off.
Yeah,
we're bribing them.
Bribing them. I wasn't going to use that word, but it's kind of like like a.
I think what's a very important point in terms of new jobs and our economy is bad and we're going to have high unemployment. All these people in the Gulf are going to be unemployed. I think that in the very near future, I mean, we used to be an agrarian nation when America was founded. Most Americans were farmers, small farmers, and just really in the last half century or 75 years or so, with cheap oil, we've enabled our nation to move away from hundreds of thousands of small farms to a very small number of huge corporate factory farms that are based on cheap oil. And as we run out of cheap oil and as the economy gets worse and people need jobs, I think we're really going to have to put millions of people to work on small farms with less oil intensive means of production.
This is a really pivotal time. And you hear that a lot, but this really is. This is a really pivotal time. There's so many things that are kind of hanging by a thread right now that it's like we've got to get efficient.
Yeah,
I really believe that.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's almost like the house of cards could come tumbling down.
Right. Well, and I want to say something about the definition of wealth. We were discussing this earlier. Is that people think that GDP or the health of the stock market, GNP, is wealth. And really, I think that people need to understand that wealth is sort of the happiness of the nation and the health of your soil and ability to produce food, your clean water, you know. And RFK gave a great speech back in the day, and he said that it's ridiculous that we consider GNP the indicator of economic or health. I mean, that's a short-term view.
There's a lot of people that they wake up and they'll read the paper or they'll flip through the channels and they'll check their stock prices. And that's kind of that their happiness fluctuates with that. So
I guess we got to wrap it up. I really just want to say thank you guys very much for providing your insight and your experiences. I really appreciate you being guests on the show.
Look forward to coming back.
Okay, yeah, for sure.
It was great.
Thank you.
Remember when they used to dance? Man, all I wanted to do was